Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Although he was thousands of miles away, Chen Beiyuan still directly saw the scenes taking place in the misty forest through some means. In order to interrupt Lin Zhao's opportunity this time, he used a lot of means. The Great Elder's 8 powerful Great Emperor weapons with strong cherry blossom characteristics were found after the Edo family was ransacked and exterminated. Chen Beiyuan was not interested in these Emperor weapons with weird and evil effects. He threw them directly to the family to enhance the overall strength of the family. As a result, it came in handy this time. And the fake young master, who looks similar to him and has a somewhat feminine face, is one of his dead substitutes. When he was young, he often followed him to learn and imitate his every move, and had some in-depth exchanges. He barely knew the basics of him, so he was able to play the role so successfully that it almost scared Lin Zhao out of his wits. No normal person can withstand this combination of punches. But am I really that scary? I was so scared that I peed. Chen Beiyuan's eyes were dark. He rubbed his chin and looked at the far eastern empire that was vaguely visible in front of him. As if he had penetrated all obstacles, he saw Lin Zhao, who was on an isolated island somewhere, in a state of embarrassment, doubting life, and dripping wet. Ruowei, Manhwa, and the others often said that he was a good boy. Although he was a little bad sometimes, he was still a good boy. But Lin Zhao looked frightened. But is he that scary? You know, he could have killed the other party directly, but he kept holding back and gave the other party many chances to survive. As for that, although Chen Beiyuan spoke with a straight back, his kidneys did not hurt. But can Lin Zhao, the son of fortune, not be afraid of him? What is the treatment for a normal urban protagonist? He was born extraordinary. The school belle coveted him, the emperor's daughter coveted him, his sister admired him, and the president had a crush on him. Everyone loved him and wanted to give him money, treasures, and artillery. But what kind of life does Lin Zhao, the son of fortune, live? In whose book does the protagonist get beaten? Is it going to make people slap their mouths? That's it. Whose house has nothing to do but ask someone to drain the sewer? There's always going to be a big fight. Just 3 people supporting each other? According to relevant records, Lin Zhao, the son of fortune, has already gained the ferocious title of the killer of 10,000 people in less than half a year and has left countless classics. Lin Zhao's opponents include, but are not limited to, humans, minotaurs, chimpanzees, lizards, kobolds, elephants. This thing is already a bit confusing just looking at the list of participants, which is enough to imagine the ferocity of the scene. Even if it's made of iron, no, even if it's made of titanium alloy, it can't withstand such a torment. If it were the protagonist in other novels, he would probably have a mental breakdown and want to die. But Lin Zhao held it hard. This shows the terror and tenacity of his character. At least among the protagonists of urban novels that Chen Beiyuan had seen in his previous life, Lin Zhao's character was enough to rank among the top 3. Even today, classic images of Lin Zhao are still circulated in some underground worlds among people with special hobbies. However, out of respect for his opponents, Chen Beiyuan always asked people to mosaic Lin Zhao. Because of this, Lin Zhao, who was constantly being tormented, was afraid of Chen to the core. He suffered more from Chen Beiyuan than from anyone else. In this case, even a fool who cares about food but not about fighting would have to suffer. At this moment, the system that had not appeared for a long time finally bubbled up again. Ding! It has been detected that the fate line of this world has encountered special changes. Son of Fortune Lin Zhao's luck has shown an increasing trend, strengthening hidden opportunities. Ding! The host used special means to forcibly interrupt Son of Fortune Lin Zhao's hidden opportunities, interrupt the rising trend of his luck, suppress the newly broken Emperor Venerable, and reverse the fate line. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward. 10,000 Buddhas, divine ability. 10,000 Buddhas, divine ability, the legendary supreme divine ability of Buddhism, which can condense the body of 10,000 Buddhas into manifestation, shine brightly, save all living beings, and suppress evil spirits. Chen Beiyuan looked at the special rewards of the system. Several question marks appeared on his face, and he subconsciously scratched his head. He, a ferocious demonic cultivator, actually rewards those bald donkeys with divine ability? Are you sure you got it right? And suppress the evil spirits? Is it possible that you want me to suppress myself? Very good, a bit like a joke from hell. However, this divine ability came by chance. He looked at 10,000 Buddhas silently and then murmured to himself for a long time. Is it really God's will? Snapped, snapped, snapped. In the back corner, Anu was slurping a milk bottle, rubbing his butt, and wielding a bone whip made from AO Azure Dragon bone very skillfully, making a sound. Immediately, he focused his eyes on someone's but on the forward deck, not knowing what he was thinking. Disobedient A Yuan. After more than half a month, the battleship group of the Donghua Empire finally returned to its own territory. One by one, the soldiers who went on the expedition couldn't help but walked out of the battleship, came to the deck, and cheered. Go home. Donghua Empire, port. I saw it, I saw it. That's the battleship of the Imperial Expeditionary Force. That's the five-clawed dragon flag of the Empire. They're back. They're back. The heroes who went on the expedition are all back. Look, that's my son. That's my son. He's a hero, ha ha ha. Mom, Guogua saw daddy. When the expeditionary force landed at the port of the Donghua Empire on a giant battleship, they were immediately welcomed by a sea of people. Countless people shouted excitedly from the bottom of their hearts. Among them, there are not only the people of the Empire who came spontaneously, but also many relatives and family members of soldiers who went to war. The high-level officials of the Donghua Empire also stood at the port to greet them personally to show their respect for the soldiers returning from this expedition. This expedition to the Cherry Blossom Country is one of the Donghua Empire's biggest external victories in 100 years, and it cannot be overstated. Not to mention the various complicated procedures after returning from the expedition. Just as the Donghua battleship landed, envoys from the Imperial Palace arrived. Commander Chen, welcome back. Your Majesty has prepared a welcome for you. Ha ha, let me tell your Majesty that Beiyuan thanks him for his kindness. However, today is the Lantern Festival. I have been away leading troops for many days. Now I just want to go home and reunite with my family. Forget about the banquet. But, Commander Chen, as the commander of this expedition, you are the well-deserved protagonist. If you don't go, I will not be able to communicate with His Majesty. Ha ha ha, that's your problem. I don't care. The commander-in-chief just wants to go home now. By the way, please come and tell His Majesty that the expenses of this expedition and the rewards of the soldiers are all in this memorial. Please approve it as soon as possible. Everyone is still waiting for points. Chen Beiyuan smiled and patted the shoulder of the palace envoy in front of him, thrust a memorial written for him directly into his hand, and immediately turned around and left without giving the other party a chance to continue speaking. Chen Beiyuan was not very interested in the invitation from the man in the palace. Compared to going to the so-called banquet, bragging and flattering each other with a group of irrelevant people, adhering to a bunch of messy rules, and showing off his acting skills with a group of old foxes from time to time, he might as well go home and forget it. The family has a reunion dinner. And, to be honest, Emperor Jiang in the palace probably isn't in the mood to see him now. Not to mention the fact that he had united various families to confront the royal family head-on, which almost made the royal family look bad. Just by killing the envoys from the Great Emperor Kingdom in the Sakura Kingdom Strait, it dug a big hole for the Donghua royal family and created a wave of hatred. These things definitely cannot be hidden. This banquet seems to be to celebrate a big victory, but there will inevitably be people with strange personalities. By then, some clowns will inevitably appear on their own initiative. There is no good banquet and no good intentions. He was in no mood to waste time by playing pretending and slapping games with those people. Ruobing, you have blocked everything for the next few days from me. Except for some important things, you can take care of the rest by yourself. Chen Beiyuan casually put down his burden and left everything directly to Leng Ruobing. With his return after a great victory, the entire Chen family must be in a state of chaos. Countless people will flock here, whether they want to establish a relationship, want to come over to recognize someone, become familiar with them, or want to become a servant. Since ancient times, it is not uncommon to praise someone who is superior and suppress someone who is inferior. If you gain power, your relatives who are 18 generations apart will emerge from the corners of your head. It was impossible for him to resolve such matters personally. Someone would naturally need to come forward, and Leng Ruobing, the secretary, was just right for him. Okay, Mr. Chen. Leng Ruobing naturally knew what was going on, and with an excited smile on his face, he quickly agreed. This is almost giving her power. At this moment, in everyone's eyes, she was almost equivalent to the incarnation of Chen Beiyuan. She may not be able to make people live, but she can certainly make people die. At the same time, the figure of the old housekeeper of the Chun family who had been waiting in front of the port came towards him and said respectfully, "Young master, the master and the mistress have prepared a family banquet at home." The mistress said, "Just waiting for you and Miss Bai to go back." Mother is back. Chen Beiyuan held Anu's footsteps for a moment, with a smile on his face. He immediately looked at Bai Ruowei, who was preparing to return to Bai's house not far behind him. He stretched out his hand and invited, "Ruowei, you have time. Want to go back for a quick meal?" Of course there is time. A hint of joy appeared on Bai Ruowei's face. She told the toolman brother next to her a few times and asked him to tell his family. Then she stepped forward and held Beiyuan's hand and walked side by side. Jiang Yunhua looked at the scene in front of him with envy, with mixed feelings in his heart. What is a seder? A family is a family feast. Obviously, the mistress of the Chen family wanted to see her unmarried daughter-in-law. This move by the Chen family almost completely confirmed Bai Ruowei's identity as the future mistress of the Chen family. Palace, banquet. Your Majesty, Commander-in-Chief Chen has gone home and said that he will not come. He also asked the old slave to tell me to express his gratitude to your Majesty for his kindness. When the messenger from the palace walked tremblingly into the bustling palace to report back, the originally lively palace banquet suddenly became silent. In an instant, all the imperial figures present had different expressions. Some were thinking, some were surprised, some were different, some were disappointed. As the protagonist of this great victory banquet, he actually didn't come, which undoubtedly made the banquet lose a bit of color. At the same time, it will also be interpreted by many people as various different signs of panic. Is it because Chen Beiyuan doesn't give the royal family any face? Or did he notice something? In the main hall, the faces of several figures who were about to drink and talk nonsense changed and became difficult to look at. Emperor Jiang, who was sitting high on the throne, suddenly paused in his movements. He soon regained his composure and spoke calmly, suppressing the strange atmosphere. Commander Chen is on this expedition. He has been away from home for a long time and is homesick. This is human nature and understandable. The banquet continues. Chen family. Dad, Mom, I'm back. Hello, Uncle and Aunt. When Chen Beiyuan led by Ruowei and Anu back to the inner courtyard of the Chen family, what he saw was a table full of sumptuous meals and a middle-aged couple. The middle-aged man on the left is surprisingly Chen Zhiqing, Chen's father. The plump and mature woman with noble temperament on the right is the mistress of the Chen family, Chen Beiyuan's mother, who has never been seen. Ji Mingkong, Yuaner and Ruowei are back. Hey, what a handsome little girl. The plump, mature woman with noble temperament was also slightly startled when she saw her precious son holding the tall lady with his left hand and a timid Ona lowly with his right hand. This isn't right. This girl looks to be about the same waist height as my own son. I'm afraid she's not even 8 years old yet. But she is a talented person and her development is good. You can tell at a glance that she will be easy to raise when she grows up. There will be no problem in giving birth to 7 or 8 fat boys in the future. Immediately, she looked at her son with a strange look. What a good boy. It's been a while since we last met. My taste has changed so quickly, and I still know how to play with it. Mom, this is Anu. She is more afraid of strangers. Chen Beiyuan smiled lightly, touched the head of the little silly dragon next to him, and introduced him. This little silly dragon was not so shy when he was in front of him before. Sometimes he still had an attitude of not being afraid of anything. But when he came home and met his parents, he instantly changed into a dragon. Anu, what a cute nickname. The plump, mature woman looked at the timid little silly dragon, and then looked at Bai Ruowei's face as usual, and then a gentle Ani smile suddenly appeared on her face. She gave her son a great look, and quickly patted the seat next to her. Come on, Ruowei and little Anu come over to Annie's side. Today is a family dinner. We are all a family. Don't be restrained. Seeing his mother's enthusiastic look, she hugged little Anu directly into her arms and pulled Ruowei to sit next to her, constantly greeting her and even throwing her precious son aside. Chen Beiyuan knew that she was afraid. Was there a misunderstanding? He naturally went to his father's side and thought to himself, normally speaking, my mother should be visiting her mother clan, Ji's family, for marriage at this time. It seems that there was a lot of commotion in the Magic City before, which caused her to come back early. That's right. Whose mother can still sit still when she hears that her son's life and death are unknown? In order to really hide the layout of the incident from everyone, except me, Dad, and Old Master, no one else knew about it. Even her mistress didn't know about it, so she probably wasn't scared. Broken. However, when she came back in a hurry, I happened to be resurrected, passed the Empire Supreme Council at a very fast speed, and led the troops to blast Sakura outside. It was a perfect miss for each other. With her temperament, she will probably be furious after learning the truth. Chen Beiyuan looked at Mother Chun, who was hugging Anu with a smile and pulling Ruowei to greet her. She didn't show the slightest hint of anger, and suddenly there was something strange in her heart. The origin of my mother is not simple, and the maternal clan behind her is no weaker than the Chen family. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is the most mysterious family in the entire Donghua Empire. Ji Mingkong, Chen Beiyuan's biological mother, the mistress of the Chen family, one of the world's top 10 arms groups, the founder of the Longting Group, is in charge of the entire Chen family's financial power. And she comes from the Ji family, a reclusive family, and is the eldest daughter of the Ji family. In the Donghua Empire, in addition to the top aristocratic families on the surface, there are also some terrifying beings who like to hide in the world. The strength of these hidden aristocratic families is unfathomable and should not be underestimated. Some even the Donghua royal family must treat with caution. The hidden Ji family is one of them. And from the surname Ji, we can see the nobility of this family. The origin of the Ji family can be traced back to ancient times. In ancient times, the first human sovereign in the human race was named Ji. Ji family is the bloodline of the ancient human sovereign. In terms of surname alone, it is not an exaggeration to say that the Ji family is the most distinguished surname in Donghua, not even comparable to the Jiang family. Even though the Ji family's overall strength has declined as time has passed, they still cannot hide their pride and nobility. The Ji family disdains appearing in the world and fighting for power and wealth. They have been living in seclusion in the secret realm of the mountains and are independent from the world. It shows that he just looks down on the top aristocratic families in the Donghua Empire and is unwilling to live with them. It is said that Emperor Jiang once intended to marry the Ji family and was willing to marry a daughter of the Ji family and even make him a queen, but he was rejected. To put it bluntly, even Emperor Donghua looked down upon him. No one knew whether Emperor Jiang was angry or not at that time, but judging from the lack of revenge from the royal family, we can see that the Ji family is special. There is no way just having a human sovereign descendant is enough to put them above all others and make countless people look up to them. In a sense, the Ji family can represent human race orthodoxy. This shows how terrifying Mother Chun, the daughter of the Ji family, is. Normally, the Ji family couldn't even look down on Emperor Jiang. So how could they look down on the Chen family? Will you marry the eldest daughter of the clan to Chen's father? There is naturally a lot of reason for this. Their love story is more outrageous than some novels. When Chen's father was young, he used to hide his name, transform into an independent cultivator, and travel around the world. By chance, he met Chen's mother in a secret realm somewhere, who had hidden his name, disguised his identity, and sneaked out. The two started fighting over a spiritual grass in Secret Realm and gradually developed a grudge and became enemies. In Secret Realm, there is a small fight every 3 days and a big fight every 7 days. The two of them developed a real fire and affection as they fought, and they also fell in love little by little. Young people, if they stay with members of the opposite S*X of the same age every day, fighting, rolling, and hugging each other at every turn, can they not have any special reactions? In addition, the two of them are still playing incognito, thinking that the other party does not know their identity. That's a thrill. Just when the relationship between the two gradually heated up and became like glue, the vulgar routine appeared, and the G family finally found. Seeing their little cabbage spending time with a stupid independent cultivator every day, the G family was instantly devastated. Not only did they take Ji Mingkong back by force, they also sent the elders of the clan to hunt Chen's father thousands of miles away. What does beating a mandarin duck mean? This is it. Seeing his unmarried wife being kidnapped and being hunted like a dog, Chen's father almost went crazy. As long as he is really an independent cultivator, he should be chased by the Ji family at this moment, while shouting not to bully young people into poverty, and there will be another 3-year period. Unfortunately, he is not an independent cultivator. His surname is Chun. He was the young master of the Chun family in Donghua at that time, and the next heir to the Chen family. No more pretending. I'm showing off my cards. Damn it, just wait for me to go home. His wife was arrested, and he pretended to be an independent cultivator. He couldn't stand this kind of thing. Chen's father, who had been wandering abroad for a long time, was finally forced to return home early to inherit the family business. He first said hello to the old man, and then in the name of the young master of the Chen family, he directly mobilized the imperial army to surround the Ji family, bombarded the Ji family with cannons, and forced the Ji family to hand over his wife. Don't look at Chen's father, who is usually honest and responsible, but when he was young, he was a crazy and boundless character, especially when it came to family issues. His wife was arrested, and if he could bear it, even the old man would beat him to death. No one in the old Chen family is a coward. First, set up a few thousand rounds of cannon and blast that be ***ch. It is said that the Ji family, who was bombarded at the mountain gate for 2.5 hours, were stunned. Since ancient times, the Ji family has been the orthodoxy of the human race in the eyes of countless forces. So far, I have never encountered anyone blocking the door and blasting me to death. This is truly the first time a yellow flower girl has entered the bridal chamber. What's the situation? Isn't that the little b******************* D, who cupped his own cabbage, an independent cultivator? What's going on outside? Where did the million-strong army come from? Where did the million-strong army come from? Not to mention the Ji family. Even Ji Mingkong, who was forcibly taken back and locked in a room, was stunned. Digging, what's going on? You have the wrong character. It's not like you promised that both your parents died and you are alone. You haven't felt a little bit of maternal love since you were a child. Only from her can you feel a little bit of mother's taste. Damn it, that's not what you said when you were in bed. She almost cried when you said it, and her maternal instincts were overflowing. Now, she suddenly changed into the young master of the Donghua Chen family, and even mobilized an army of millions to bombard the door of her house. The furious Ji Mingkong completely forgot that the character she played in front of Chen's father was no less generous. His father is a bad gambler, his stepmother is vicious, his brother is a playboy, and his servants bully his master. I haven't had enough to eat since I was a child, can't sleep well, wear thin clothes, run away from home, live alone, wandering around the world. It is not an exaggeration to say that these two movie kings are rivals. Chen's father, who was kept in the dark at the time, didn't know the situation of his wife. He just thought that the Ji family wanted to steal his woman, so he would be ruthless. First block the door, then beat the person. Ji's family, if you see one, hit one. Whoever dares to take the lead will be beaten to death and then locked up immediately. At that time, among the younger generation, except for a very few women who were not beaten, the rest were beaten one after another by Father Chun and were immediately detained. Among them are Ji Mingkong's younger brothers, his brothers-in-law, Chen Beiyuan's uncles. At that time, Ji Mingkong's brothers were still very arrogant. After being beaten severely by Chen's father, they quickly revealed their identity as their brother-in-law. As a result, the cheap brother-in-law in front of them beat them even harder, almost beating them badly. Break. At that time, the Ji family thought it was a conflict between the younger generations, and the older generation resisted and did not take action. However, seeing their son being beaten by Father Chun until he was howling and screaming, they couldn't help it anymore. In particular, Chen's father was clamoring not to let go of his unmarried wife, so he directly blocked all exits, making the Ji family do nothing and beat the Ji family's bastards every day. Ever since, the older generation of Ji family began to appear. The strong men of the older generation of the Chen family were not to be outdone and left the field directly. Although the Chen family had just regained the northern front and was severely weakened at that time, the strong men of the older generation of the Chen family were not dead yet. They all came out of the mountains of corpses and seas of bones. If they start a fight, it would be cruel. Even though they did not have an advantage in numbers, they actually overwhelmed the Ji family for a while. Mr. Chen, who had just succeeded as the head of the family, personally visited the ancestor of the Ji family carrying a coffin. The two parties discussed each other in the secret realm for 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days later, both parties left secret realm at the same time, and no one knew the final result. However, Chen's father successfully picked up Ji Mingkong the next day. Later, the two parties got married, but no one from the Ji family came. Obviously, the Ji family still looks down upon the Chen family, let alone Father Chen, his uncle. Although the two families are relatives in name, they are strangers to each other. Their relationship is very stiff, and they hardly interact with each other. In order to get my mother back, my father really offended the entire Ji family. The younger generation had him et all over. Even my uncles had him hanged from a tree and whipped for countless times. Whip. As for the older generation, the old man didn't show any mercy at that time, and he was really serious. I'm afraid he was really angry. Otherwise, it would be impossible to bring the person back. Judging from the plot of the original book, there has been almost no contact between the two families in the past few decades. My mother only went back to Ji's house before, but she didn't stay long before she heard my news and hurried back. Chen Beiyuan also has complicated emotions for the Ji family, his mother's family. In a sense, he also has the blood of the Ji family, human sovereign. However, it is difficult for him to explain clearly the grudges of the older generation. After all, if Chen's father hadn't snatched Chen's mother back, he probably wouldn't exist today. Some things, right or wrong, are beyond his control. In the Chen family, Chen's mother Ji Mingkong also has a very special status, because the old man's partner died not long after giving birth to Father Chen. In other words, after Chen's mother joined the family, she was in charge of all internal affairs of the Chen family and almost took charge of the internal power. Except for the old man, the two men in the family are under her control. Dad came back from Sakura country some time ago. I think he suffered a lot. Chen Beiyuan glanced at his father quietly. The incident in the Magic City had been so big before, and it was unlikely that Mother Chen would ask his precious son to accuse him, so it would be more than enough to deal with her father. You know, my old mother is notoriously possessive. Over the years, she has been almost the only one with the father. There is no other woman, and she has been tightly controlled in every aspect. Faced with the strange look in his son's eyes, Father Chen remained calm and ate his own food, looking steady and dignified, but there was a hint of bitterness in the corner of his mouth. My left hand unconsciously touched my aching waist. One can imagine what kind of life he has been living these days. My forehead hurts and my waist hurts, but I can't say anything. No, it's better to maintain the dignity of the old father. Mother Chen did not notice the strangeness of the father and son next to her at this moment. She was hugging Anu and pulling by Ruowei's catkins, and her mouth was full of tiger and wolf words. Ruowei, how are your progress with Yuaner during this period? Auntie told you. When you are fine, have you communicated more deeply with Yuaner? There are some things that he is still in the theoretical stage and needs to be put into practice. Auntie, could it be too early? Beiyuan is still young after all. Maybe we can wait a little longer and not be in a hurry. Bai Ruowei blushed with embarrassment, obviously being made a little unprepared, and spoke insincerely. This scene immediately made Chen Beiyuan's mouth twitch. That's not what you said before, let alone what you did. That action was so fierce. Already 18, you're still young? Let me tell you, my aunt has come from here, and the old Chen family is famous for being fierce. This thing is hereditary. You'll understand when you get here. You don't know that when your uncle was 18, he would often wake up in the middle of the night. Puff. Chen Beiyuan, who had just drank a glass of wine, couldn't hold back and almost squirted on the spot. Good guy. This kind of thing can also be said. Seeing that his daughter-in-law's words were getting more and more outrageous, and she kept talking about tigers and wolves, and she was also involved in him. Father Chen, who had been silent all the time, finally couldn't help but cough. Cough, cough, cough. These naughty girls dare to talk about anything. Hiss. Father Chen, who was coughing, suddenly took a breath of cold air. It was obvious that his lifeline had been strangled, and the corners of his mouth twitched. He quickly raised a glass of wine and drank it to cover up his embarrassment. From Chen Beiyuan's perspective, he happened to see his mother very calmly extending her claws towards her father under the table, as if she was squeezing something. Zhiqing, are you okay? Mother Chen turned her head with a confused look on her face, looked at her husband who looked slightly stiff in front of her, and unconsciously tightened her hand. Ahem, it's okay. Today's wine is not to my taste. It's spicy to my throat. Father Chen took a bite of the dish with a normal expression and savored it carefully. Well, Father Chen, who has always been mighty and domineering, was manipulated so easily. The corner of Chen Beiyuan's mouth twitched slightly. Although he expected it, he was still frightened by his mother's fierceness. No wonder his father told him about the freedom of marriage before, so that he didn't need to be too anxious. To be honest, although Ji Mingkong is the mistress of the Chun family and the daughter of the Ji family, her character is like that of most mothers, with an almost double-standard attitude. She is strict with her husband and indulgent with her precious son. How many more women does your husband want? What? You deserve to be my mother, right? I haven't served you enough for you all these years, right? I ask you to pay dozens of kilograms of food a day to make a facial mask, take a bubble bath, and still miss other women so damn much? Why don't you die? Want other women? Okay, after I die, you can find a vixen to straighten her up. As for saying that my precious son is surrounded by a bunch of women outside, okay, my son is finally aperture opening, and he knows how to push cabbage around. Yes, boys shouldn't be like this. Push hard, push hard. When I was a kid, I hid in the training room every day to practice. Sooner or later, my brain will become stupid due to cultivation, so there will be more. Move. Wei's mother likes to watch her piglets scoop out a few more pink cabbages. In Chen's mother's words, that is, the two main generations of your old Chen family are notoriously sparse in population. The old man only has 2 sons, you and his second uncle. You are just a son in Beiyuan. Your second uncle doesn't even have a hair on his head yet, but he kills people every day. Beiyuan doesn't need to find more people, but gives birth to more children. How can he inherit the Chun family's incense and inherit the Chun family's huge family business? Is it possible that you still want your son to be a bachelor? Young Master Chen wants to really beat the bachelor, not only on your face, but also on the old man's face. When she was a child, what Chen's mother liked to do most was to watch a group of cute little girls huddle together and compete with each other around her little Beiyuan that was waiting to be fed. Among them, she saw that the girl from the Bai family was getting more and more satisfied, and she felt like she saw herself when she was young. At first glance, you can tell that she has the character of a good wife and loving mother. Mingkong, you continue chatting. I'll go to the study to handle some urgent business. Father Chen suddenly put down his chopsticks, patted her hand, and signaled his wife to let go of her hand. He also winked at his precious son. Chen Beiyuan understood instantly and knew that he must have something to tell him. Mom, I just came back from Sakura country. I happen to have something to talk to Dad about. I'll go to the study as well. It's too late to leave your son behind. A look from his biological father is more important than my biological mother. Go ahead, go ahead. I happen to be telling Ruowei and little Anu some private things, and it's not suitable for you to listen to them. Arrive. Mother Chen waved her hands indifferently, still focusing on the prospective daughter-in-law and child bride in front of her. When Chen Beiyuan got up and followed his father to the study, the soon-to-be mother-in-law and daughter-in-law behind him were chatting in a lively manner, and the main topic of the conversation was about his childhood. In an instant, even the little Anu who was held in his arms subconsciously pricked up his ears and started listening. Obviously, she is also very interested in what happened to a Yuan when he was a child. Study. After the Chun family father and son entered the room, they remained silent and looked at each other strangely. The atmosphere became a little weird. Well, I still owe your mother a debt. Because of what happened back then, after she married into the Chen family, she cut off contact with the Ji family. For decades, she stayed here day after day. The freedom of youth. Suddenly, I went from a familiar environment to a strange east. I stayed there for decades, and there were no familiar people or familiar circles around me. It would be a bit unbearable for anyone. Some time ago, she finally made up her mind to go back to see her family. However, she was so scared that she hurried back because of the arrangement of you and my father. She complained about her father, but he can bear it. After all, he is the father of the father. Don't stop her. Father Chen sighed, with a hint of sadness on his majestic face. Chen Beiyuan nodded silently, but he felt deeply in his heart. Don't look at Chen's mother being so rude to Chen's father, but in fact the relationship between the two is extremely deep. In the original work, Chen's mother's fate was not good. First, because of love, I completely lost contact with my family and relatives. Later, due to various reasons, I had to deal with all kinds of troubles and worry about the original person. During the period when the Chen family was almost destroyed, she watched helplessly as her husband died in battle, her son was brutally hunted, and her life and death were unknown. The huge Chen family collapsed overnight. She originally wanted to die for her love, but she was captured and imprisoned by the Ji family, who suddenly appeared. She became depressed, became crazy, and died on a hunger strike. When the original body, who had been promoted to 9th grade god of war at that time, rushed to the Ji family, all he saw was an ugly corpse that was as skinny as wood. It no longer had the grace and splendor of the mistress of the Chen family. It is said that before she died, she was still begging the Ji family to help her child who was living outside. In a sense, the Chen family did owe her a lot. This is the reason why I always want to become stronger and defying the heavens and changing fate. When I read the original work, I didn't experience it personally, but I just felt a little emotional. Now, I have become Chen Beiyuan. After experiencing these memories and emotions personally, how can we continue to watch those tragedies happen? Now that I'm here, everything will change. Chen Beiyuan murmured secretly in his heart. After Chen's father sighed and sighed, looking at his silent son in front of him, his face became serious. Okay, let's not talk about the sad things anymore. The next thing to talk about is the business. The old man asked my father to bring you a special gift. After killing the Abyss Devourer, the old man saw some interesting things from its memory fragments. Beiyuan, there is a clue to the other incomplete part of the prison-suppressing demonic scripture you practiced. Uh-huh. Chen Beiyuan's pupils trembled, and he suddenly looked at Father Chen in front of him. He was obviously shocked by the sudden news. In the original work, is it possible that the most mysterious taboo magic skill will appear in advance? What's going on? In the original work, when the original person was still in the late stage, he found another incomplete part of the prison-suppressing demonic skill through some unknown channels, merged it into his own destiny skill, and finally activated it. Create your own path to invincibility. In the early stages of the plot, although the original Destiny villain was strong, he suffered a lot of defeats. Only after obtaining the 9th grade forbidden magic skill, he successfully became a terrifying and incomparable person in the eyes of countless people. The rival Chen Laoma. The current timeline has actually been advanced, and it's advanced so quickly. The shock in Chen Beiyuan's heart at this moment was not fake, but sincere. As I said before, the 8th grade Kung Fu, prison suppression demonic scripture, he majored in was not complete, just a fragment. Only by finding the remaining fragments and integrating them with each other can they become the forbidden magic power that belongs exclusively to him, the destined villain in the original work. Abyss Forbidden Code. This is a forbidden magic book with advanced attributes. The initial stage is the divine level technique, and then, as long as it is continuously devoured, it can continue to evolve and transform. This is simply a bug. In the original work, after obtaining the Abyss Forbidden Code, the original body almost seemed to be in trouble. His cultivation level almost skyrocketed, killing and killing all the way. It was said that he met gods, killed gods, and met demons. Killing demons is not an exaggeration. At that time, with the demonic flames raging into the sky, he single-handedly turned the overseas countries upside down and killed most of the strongest people in each great emperor country. Then, they directly penetrated the entire great sacred land of the alien beasts, suppressing all the alien beasts until they could not lift their heads. At that time, it would not be an exaggeration to say that it was a nightmare for all races. Completely possessed by the devil, he has turned into a black maniac and doesn't care about any human race aliens. He just kills them whenever he wants and does whatever he wants. Princesses, queens, witches, elf queens, fox saintess, dragon race empress. I have tasted them all. At that time, it would not be an exaggeration to say that his magical power, great accomplishment, was invincible in the world. The so-called son of fortune had to run around like a dog in front of him. The heroine luck became his slave one after another. She was arrested one by one and had S*X every day. In front of him, any void temple weapon spirit has to kneel down and call its master. At that time, he fully and perfectly interpreted what urban cool writing is. Chen Beiyuan vaguely remembers that he was so happy that he had finished more than 200 chapters, and he was almost smoking. Those who didn't know better thought the protagonist had been replaced. When Son of Fortune Lin Xiao was still running away with difficulty, hungry, eating bugs, looking for opportunities. Chen Laoma is in the wine pool and meat forest of the imperial harem, acting recklessly, riding a horse, whipping his whip, and galloping. If it hadn't been for the late-stage plot killing and the use of Deus Ex Machina, Lin Xiao somehow broke through the 9th grade and found a group of mysterious 9th grade gods of war to surround and kill him. Maybe the original book would have been a cool urban novel. It's time to change the name. With my current cultivation level and combat power, the prison-suppressing demonic scripture can no longer keep up with my pace. Those accompanying demon Dao combat skills are not very comparable in front of the many powerful and strange divine abilities. It has even become mediocre. Now, if I can get the Abyss Forbidden Code in advance, I can make up for this problem, and it can also make my strength further and reach the level of the Destiny villain in the original late stage at a faster speed. After learning about the Abyss Forbidden Code, Chen Beiyuan almost raised its importance to the 1st rank. Perhaps he can consider switching to the Abyss Forbidden Code. Next, break through the 7th grade War Emperor and condense the even more terrifying divine ability. Just when Chen Beiyuan was thinking a lot, Father Chen slowly told him what the old man had told him. After the old man devoured the memory of the Devourer of the Abyss with Demon Dao divine ability, he felt a terrifying demonic aura when he discovered that the Abyssal Devourer had been in a forbidden area on the front line of the Empire. It happens to be the same as your prison-suppressing demonic energy, but it's even more terrifying. The Abyss Devourer at that time was very afraid of that terrifying demonic energy and even had fear from the soul. Something that can make a powerful beast so afraid must be something not simple. From this, the old man concluded that there must be another strange stone tablet recording forbidden magic skills buried there. As he spoke, Father Chen took out a strange black stone and a piece of black inner armor from his body and handed them over, explaining, "Because the memory of the Devourer of the Abyss has been shattered and very blurry, even the old man cannot determine the location of that place. This pitch-black strange stone is the brain core of the Devourer of the Abyss, with a trace of its damaged essence sealed inside. As long as you get close to that place, the essence in the brain core will definitely be reflected, which can give you exactly what you need. As a guide, this inner armor was made by the old man using the heart skin of the Devourer of the Abyss. When worn on the body, at critical moments, it can block the attacks of the most powerful and save one's life. The old man said that you set up the situation at that time, so you will naturally have a share of the spoils." Looking at these 2 treasures in front of him, they have special effects and are of great use to him. Chen Beiyuan suddenly felt a sense of warmth in his heart, not to mention the brain core that has the ability to guide. The inner armor that can withstand the attacks of the strongest is definitely a defensive treasure. Even the strongest of the human race will be excited. The old man didn't want to keep it for himself, but gave it to him directly. It seems that in the past few days, the Empire's frontline has to go on a journey. While looking for the Abyss Forbidden Code, we also need to solve the hidden danger of the Emperor Venerable. Originally, I wanted to go to southern Xinjiang first, but my plan couldn't keep up with the changes. I thought that with my arrangements, you should be able to cope with the situation first. When the Chun family father and son walked out of the study, in the inner hall, Mother Chun was holding the doll-like little Anu, with a doting and maternal expression on her face. What a cute little girl. She's no worse than Yuan when she was a child. My aunt's heart almost melted when she saw her. I wish you were my granddaughter. Huh. Ruowei, you and Yuan are not young now, so it's time to settle things. At that time, the matter between you and Beiyuan was only verbally settled, and the engagement banquet was not officially held yet. In this way, I will give you make the decision, organize the engagement party in the next few days, and give an auspicious day. Auntie doesn't want to think about anything now. She just wants to hold her grandson. Engagement party? Auspicious day? Bai Ruowei was completely stunned. Her beautiful face was in a daze, and her eyes couldn't help but be excited, as if she had been hit hard by a pie falling from the sky. She never dreamed that the things that were on her mind would be decided by Chen's mother as soon as she came back. You know, when she and Beiyuan were moving and talking about this topic, this little B asterisk 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 D always says the four mantras. Keep talking, keep going, soon, right now. Then, as soon as it continued, people became confused and forgot everything. Thinking about it afterwards, she was so angry that Nana hurt. Xiaobai, you are such a loser. Why are you so greedy? Why did you get confused so quickly? You are stunned. Alas, greed is bad for things. The status she had longed for so far has not been obtained. Every time it's always because of greed that bad things happen. She has been Chen Beiyuan's fiancée for 6 years, and she always wants to remove the word unmarried. This thought has almost become her inner demon. There was no way around it. There were too many bad women and opponents staring at this little bad guy Beiyuan, and from time to time, she had to be wary of someone taking advantage of the situation and sneaking into power. Among them, His Highness the Sixth Prince of the Empire, who had the attributes of a nymphomaniac and a minotaur, was the most powerful in prying her. He could pry her overtly or covertly, and he almost had to ride on her head to pry her. This little B asterisk asterisk ch is simply crazy and has no regard for her, the eldest sister in the palace. There were also several times when she faced Beiyuan Filanqiu in front of her in an extremely provocative manner. Now, this opportunity has finally come. Annie, I want to make progress too much. Bai Ruowei suppressed the excitement in her heart. An unconcealed expectation appeared on her beautiful face, and she stared straight at Mother Chen in front of her. Uncle, Auntie, are you telling the truth? Of course it's true. How can you joke about something like this? But, are you still calling me Aunt at this time? Mother Chen held the cute little Anu in her arms and looked at the surprised daughter-in-law in front of her with a playful smile on her charming face. Mother, hey, that's right. If your mother makes the decision for you, just put your heart in your belly. Yuan will definitely be yours. But, should you tell Beiyuan about this matter so that he can be mentally prepared? What kind of mental preparation do you need? I raised him. As a mother, I must have the right to make the decision. If I say yes, it will definitely be okay. Yuan must also listen to me. Find a time in the past few days to make an appointment with the in-laws to come out and talk to each other. Set a good day. Of course, I must have some small requirements for you young couple to get married. You should work harder after marriage and give birth to some big, fat grandchildren as soon as possible. The Chun family has such a big inheritance, and there will definitely be less people to share it with. Seeing his mother talking and laughing with his fiancée, she made clear arrangements for him. Chen Beiyuan, who had just walked out of the study, was stunned for a moment, obviously caught off guard. Yuan, how was your chat with your dad? Mom got along well with Ruowei and decided that she will be the daughter-in-law of our Chen family. Find a time in the next few days, and you guys can have an engagement party and set a date. What do you think? Mother Chen looked at the father and son walking out of the study, looked directly at her precious son with gentle eyes, and spoke first. The excitement on by Ruowei's face next to her has not dissipated, but there is a bit of anxiety in her eyes. Obviously, she was a little afraid that Beiyuan misunderstood that she deliberately forced him to make a decision. However, to her surprise, Beiyuan was just stunned for a moment, and then directly agreed. Okay, it's not good to keep things delayed. There should be a charter. During this period, Sister Ruowei is still a woman and has been by my side. If she doesn't decide her status, it will always be easy for others to gossip about her, which will also be bad for her reputation. As soon as these words came out, Bai Ruowei's face suddenly showed surprise that could not be concealed. Obviously, she didn't expect that Beiyuan would give her such a big surprise. In fact, Chen Beiyuan doesn't have much objection to this matter. I also have corresponding psychological preparations and ideas for solutions. Not to mention, the old man had arranged this marriage for him in the first place. If he violated it, he would easily be slapped in the face. His tall and slender concubine has been working with him and never leaving him. She is deeply in love and has a traditional personality. She has chosen to forgive him generously for some things he did outside. A good woman like this is hard to find in the world. Moreover, during this period of time, he was still unclear about other women, and there were already a lot of rumors outside. This is undoubtedly unfair to Bai Ruowei's fiancée. It can be said that among all the lucky heroines, Bai Ruowei is undoubtedly the most suitable wife. Leng Ruobing's background is too low, her background is too weak, and she has a bad personality. She is only suitable to be a lover, an artillery buddy, and a hot weapon. Jiang Yunhua was of high birth and had a strong background. Although he was suitable for being a wife, his personality was too selfish and he wished he could devour Xiao Beiyuan all by himself. If she wants to rise to the top, she will definitely suppress the other luck heroines. Other women are prohibited from sharing the use rights of Xiao Beiyuan. Of course, he can still suppress these things. But the royal family behind her, the Jiang family, is the real trouble. Lin Yunluo is also a good choice for a good wife and mother. She is not weaker than Bai Ruowei in every aspect, and is even better. But she has a fatal weakness, not fighting. If you don't fight, how can you play with others? Moreover, the Lin family behind her is also a problem. Huang Fei, non-human, weapon spirit, 8 feet, pass. Anu, baby dragon, silly, pass. In the end, only Bai Ruowei was the most suitable candidate for the head wife. After deciding what to do next, everything became simple and clear. After learning that the Chen family wanted to discuss the engagement banquet and choose an auspicious day, Bai Yinyun, the head of the Bai family, and his wife took the initiative to visit him. After some discussion, the two families decided to hold an engagement banquet in the capital 3 days later to fully implement the matter and announce it to the public. The wedding date of Chen Beiyuan and Bai Ruowei was set 2 years later. This date was given by Mr. Chen, who was far away in Beijing City. The old man spoke in person, so naturally no one dared to refute. When it was announced that Chen Beiyuan and Bai Ruowei were going to hold an engagement banquet 3 days later and had set a wedding date, it immediately caused an uproar throughout the empire and caused quite a shock. In an instant, it attracted the attention of countless forces. The true marriage between the Chen and Bai families was no small matter. Just when people on all sides are thinking about the pros and cons and the changes in the situation. When the other luck heroines learned that their loved ones were about to become their husbands, they felt as if the sky had fallen. Magic City. When Lin Yunluo learned about Beiyuan's engagement, she was in a daze and couldn't recover for a long time. She felt an indescribable bitterness all over her body. However, this is not the most terrible thing. The most terrible thing is the pregnancy test stick with 2 bars in her hand at the moment. She looked at the 2 obvious red lines on the pregnancy test stick in her hand. Her eyes were dazed. Her fingers were clenched pale. She couldn't stop trembling and murmured to herself, Beiyuan, I'm pregnant. Beiyuan, I'm pregnant. Lin Yunluo's eyes were in a daze, looking at the 2 dazzling red lines. Her mind went blank, and she didn't know how to react. As early as half a month ago, she gradually noticed something strange about herself. For example, she suddenly fell in love with sweet and sour snacks, and she often looked at Beiyuan's photos in a daze and was sentimental. At that time, she thought she was sick, but she had to deal with various official affairs in the city, so she suppressed the strangeness in her heart, simply took some medicine, and continued working. But as time passed, she felt more and more something was wrong. Just in the morning, When she learned that Beiyuan and Bai Rui were about to hold an engagement banquet in the imperial capital and set a wedding date, her whole mood fell into a slump. She couldn't hold it back for a while and suffered from morning sickness. Signs. At this time, no matter how stupid she was, she knew that something was definitely wrong with her. And something went terribly wrong. So, she asked her confidant secretary to secretly buy a box of pregnancy test sticks to check whether they were genuine or not. The result was just as she had guessed. She is pregnant. Moreover, it has been more than a month. And more than a month ago, it happened to be the time when a certain little b D came to the magic city and shamelessly sneaked into her room. What's more important is that, at 24 this year, she is only one man and has only been touched by him once. At that time, that little b D was still fighting the real army, and he was killed without wearing a helmet, and he still hit the vital point with his gun. In the face of so much substantive evidence, the identity of the culprit is naturally easy to come out. She is pregnant with Chen Beiyuan's child. How could I be pregnant? How could I be pregnant? What should I do? What should I do? You can't hide this kind of thing. I asked him to obey at the time, but he refused and acted mischievously. I forgot about it afterwards and didn't have time to take medicine. I thought nothing would happen. But how could this happen? He has made an engagement and will soon have a wife and a happy family. This child should not have appeared. Lin Yunluo put down the pregnancy test stick with 2 bars and stroked her flat, yet unswelled abdomen, with a hesitant light in her eyes. This child came at the wrong time. Once exposed, the consequences would be disastrous. If something goes wrong, it will affect Beiyuan's happy life and his relationship with Bai Rui. Because no one knew whether the baby in her belly was a boy or a girl. If it's a girl, that's fine, but if it's a boy, that is Beiyuan's eldest son, the eldest grandson of the Chen family. The meaning of this has changed. In an aristocratic family, the eldest son and eldest grandson have great significance. Can the Chen family allow direct blood to spread outside? Can Bai Rui tolerate other women's children? Will Beiyuan think she did it on purpose? Things seem to be no longer that simple at this moment. Do you want to abort it? Lin Yunluo fell into a deathly entanglement and silence. As her character says, her love for Chen Beiyuan is higher than lust. Even if she just sees the person she loves happy in her life, she is satisfied. But the child in her belly will undoubtedly break the current balance. As time passed by, her eyes gradually became determined and painful, and the palms stroking her belly began to tremble slightly. Sorry. She lowered her head and murmured. It's like apologizing to a newly born life. Obviously, she has made a decision. She doesn't want to make it difficult for Beiyuan. She slowly picked up the phone and wanted to make a call and asked the secretary to arrange abortion medication. But at this moment, her right hand stroking her belly trembled slightly, as if she had been kicked by something. The unborn little guy seemed to be saying hello to her in this way, or saying goodbye. Lin Yunluo shuddered. Snapped. The phone instantly hit the ground. The smooth screen fell to pieces. The belief that was unshakable just now was shattered in an instant at this moment. In a daze, she seemed to see a baby whose appearance she couldn't see clearly waving to her. Etc., etc. Maybe things are not that bad. Maybe there is still room for maneuver. Maybe I can give birth secretly, as long as I take precautions to keep it secret. When the time comes, send the child outside first, and then bring him to me through adoption. No one will know that this child is his, and no one will know who the child's mother is. Beiyuan, I'm sorry. Just let me be selfish for once. Just let me be selfish for once. I will stay in the magic city and die alone. I will never set foot in the imperial city for the rest of my life. I will not disturb your life. Just keep this child as my companion. Lin Yunluo is not a saint after all. She also has 7 emotions and 6 desires, and also has the brilliance of motherhood. At the last moment, she still chose the same approach as the original work. That is to give birth to the child quietly and raise it up. She has no fate with Beiyuan in this life. Maybe having his child would fulfill her wish. As long as things are kept secret and confidentiality is maintained in all aspects, no one will know who the father of the child is. The most important thing now is to find a way not to show up in front of outsiders for a year and hide her pregnancy. And this matter is not difficult for her, the current top official of the Demon City. Unfortunately, she only missed a few things. That is, every woman who has substantial contact with Chen Beiyuan, the young master of the Chen family, will be secretly protected and monitored by the corresponding family dead man. As long as the issue of bloodline is involved, even the top families take it very seriously. Outside the Empire State Building, inside a garbage truck that had just left, a woman wearing cleaning clothes and a mask was rummaging through countless garbage. Soon, she found a tissue with some vomit in a bag. Her body was shocked, and her cold eyes seemed to set off a storm. I like sour and sweet foods, often feel dazed, have low energy, and experience vomiting. I like sour and sweet foods, often feel dazed, have low energy, and experience vomiting. Target number 4 is suspected to be pregnant and is the young master's bloodline. The stern expression behind the mask of the cleaning woman changed slightly, and her eyes instantly turned into the vertical eyes of an animal. She obviously understood the terrifying message and meaning contained in it. Now he has hit the jackpot. The target I was responsible for protecting this time was actually so lucky. It only took one hit. And her various changes also indicate that she is not a pure human race. Her name is Yushi, a foreigner with part of the blood of a foreign race. She was born in the border city and is one of the dead soldiers carefully cultivated by the Chen family, especially lurking next to Lin Yunluo, carrying out certain protection and surveillance. There are many dead soldiers like her, each with their own division of labor. Like the humanoid ferocious beast that appeared in the imperial capital before and attacked the children of the aristocratic family. They are personally responsible for the dirty work of spying on hostile forces, stealing intelligence, carrying out assassinations, etc. In addition to Lin Yunluo, even the other lucky heroines are also surrounded by them. She carefully put away the tissue stained with vomit. This thing is evidence. Whether you are really pregnant or not, you can tell by having someone take it for a test. Suddenly, Yushi's pupils shrank and the hairs all over his body stood up, as if he sensed some danger approaching. Boom. In the mountain forest, huge rocks suddenly rolled down from the top of the mountain, hitting the garbage truck driving at a constant speed on the highway directly below. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, facing the huge impact, the garbage truck was smashed into a huge pile of scrap metal by huge rocks falling from the sky, and even huge dents were made on the ground. The ordinary driver sitting in the cab was crushed by the overwhelming pressure on the spot and turned into meat. Swish! Yushi, who reacted extremely quickly and sensed the danger in advance, had just escaped from the danger and fled into the forest. But the next moment, all the paths were blocked by figures that appeared at unknown times. A cold figure holding a huge machete was staring at her. Hand over the things. Yushi paused in her steps. The tip of her nose trembled slightly. Her erect animal eyes were instantly filled with blood-red light, and a bloodthirsty smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Snake cubs from the Lin family? I could smell that fishy smell on your body from all the way away. You came so quickly. Just as the Chun family attaches great importance to blood, the Lin family also makes no concessions in this regard. Previously, after Lin Shufeng learned that his baby cabbage had been eaten by a certain piglet, he was so angry that he couldn't eat for 3 days and 3 nights. At the same time, he secretly strengthened the protection and care of his daughter. His protective power and various levels of treatment are comparable to that of the heir Lin Jiuzhou. This situation is undoubtedly abnormal. Obviously, the Lin family is also looking forward to something. For example, a little guy named Lin Xiaoyuan. Empire State Building. Shuyan, make some arrangements. Next, I am going to go abroad for inspection for a period of time, which will probably last about 1.5 years. During this time, I will not be in the Magic City, and I will leave all matters to you. Lin Yunluo wore gold-rimmed glasses, sat on an office chair, and began to arrange the next work. Her face no longer showed helplessness and pain, but was filled with rational wisdom and the majesty of a superior. If she wanted to stay in the Magic City all the time, she would definitely not be able to hide the existence of the little life in her belly. Over time, it will definitely be leaked. Only those who leave the Magic City, leave Donghua, and go to overseas countries can initially escape everyone's attention. Only then can she quietly realize her plan of running with the ball. When the time comes, she will bring the ball back to China in the name of adopting Donghua children living overseas. It must be said that her reaction was extremely fast. Even in a short period of time, she came up with the corresponding solution. If you disagree, run away first and talk later. But the strange thing is that her confidant Xiaomei, who has been with her since childhood, is standing silently, with no intention of executing it. At the same time, several figures walked in quietly and stood behind Xiaomei. "Miss, you may not be able to leave." Lin Yunluo's voice suddenly stopped, and her gentle eyes instantly turned cold. Looking at Xiaomei and those people in front of her, her hands on the chair suddenly clenched and turned white. She never imagined that she would be betrayed by her close sister. You know, she had led him by contraceptive rods for her because she trusted him before. Judging from the situation in front of her, her confidant obviously turned around and reported the matter to her father. Those people were obviously his father's old subordinates. Why? Lin Yunluo's face was expressionless, her teeth were clenched, and her voice was cold. Xiaomei slowly lowered her head under the oppressive gaze, not daring to look directly at it. Her voice was trembling and full of guilt. "Miss, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm also a member of the Lin family. I can't go against the family's rules. Will? Miss, don't embarrass us, just come with us." Seeing that even his confidants since childhood had chosen to betray him, Lin Yunluo knew that it would be difficult to leave given his low cultivation level. Her face was pale, and she slumped down on the chair, as if her energy had been drained, and her eyes were a bit desperate. If she had kept it secret from Chen Beiyuan before, it was because she was afraid of affecting the happiness of her loved one. So he kept it secret from the Lin family because he was afraid that the child in his belly would become a tool of struggle for the family. In the face of family interests, some things can naturally be sacrificed. If this child inherits Chen Beiyuan's terrifying talent after birth, and is also deliberately instilled with the seeds of hatred by his family, and gradually becomes a murderous tool, the murder weapon. What if the Lin family wants to use this child to deal with Beiyuan and the Chen family? Killing father with son, killing each other with flesh and blood. Lin Yunluo, who came from a wealthy family, had seen this kind of thing before. "Sorry, Miss Second, come with us." Just when the leader was about to step forward and take the person away by force. "Let's see who dares." A rough roar suddenly sounded. Boom. The door was suddenly violently kicked open. One after another, figures wearing Magic City military uniforms and exuding terrifying murderous aura rushed in, surrounded Xiaomei and the others, and pointed their weapons directly at them. A strong man with a rough face walked in directly, his eyes fierce. The person who came was unexpectedly Kue Wu, commander of the 1st Armored Regiment of the Magic City military region. "Today, none of you can take me away." Donghua Empire, the 4th Theater. The head of the Lin family urgently signed a special transfer order. Assist the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd armies of the 4th Theater Zone, enter the Magic City, and bring people back. Donghua Empire, the 3rd War Zone. Father Chen looked at the urgent information in his hand. After a moment of silence, he signed a transfer order. Deploy the 2nd Army Group of the 3rd Theater and surround the Demon City. Not a single fly is allowed to enter. Less than a month later, the Magic City was once again surrounded by the Imperial Army. The densely packed Imperial Army almost surrounded the entire demonic city, sealing all exit channels. This sudden situation almost scared the people in the city to death. Those foreigners who came for tourism and business were even more frightened. There is no way, this camp is too scary. Wouldn't it be better to mention the densely packed Imperial Army outside the Demon City, as well as the terrifying weapons exuding an icy aura? There are also giant floating boats from the Empire patrolling back and forth in the sky, as if they are afraid that someone will escape. For those who didn't know, they thought someone was treasonous and traitorous to the country again. There was a guilty wanted criminal in the Empire who was so frightened that he tried to escape from the Magic City. However, he was discovered by the hovercraft above and received a direct hit from the hover cannon, leaving not even a hair on his head. Now, All the major aristocratic families in the entire Magic City are going crazy with fear. They had just experienced the bloody purge a month ago, but their memories were still fresh. Could it be that there is that stupid B****ch again, who can't control her own crotch and brings the big guy down? Now, there's good news and bad news. The good news is, it's an acquaintance. The Imperial army that surrounded the Demon City was actually the one who besieged the city and killed people last month, the second army of the third theater of the Empire. The leader is the second master of the Chen family, Chen Beiyuan's second uncle, Chen Beiyuan, who is known as the bloodthirsty Shura. The bad news is that it doesn't stop at Empire's third war zone. The fourth theater of the Empire also came, and more than one army group came. Actually, 3 came directly. Now, in 2 Imperial war zones, hundreds of thousands of people are confronting each other outside the demonic city. The smoke is thick and the smell of gunpowder is full, and it's time to start fighting. Chen Beiyuan, what do you mean? Our department received instructions from the highest level of the Empire to carry out a confidential mission and enter the city to pick up the second lady. Why are you, the third war zone? People here to join in the fun. The second elder of the Lin family showed cold eyes, looking at the figure wearing the Shura mask in front of him, with a trace of unconcealable anger on his face. He never expected that he had mobilized his troops as quickly as possible, but he was actually one step slower than the opponent. He couldn't even enter the city and was blocked outside. You know, the fourth theater is much closer to the Magic City than the third theater. This is simply a slap in the face. However, what made him even more annoyed and humiliated was that Chen Beiyuan, who was opposite him, didn't take anything from him. He just waved his hand, and a new recruit walked out boldly with a long gun on his back, a look of youth on his face. Unique tenderness and unruliness. Waiting right here. What are you talking about? You new recruit, do you know who I am? I am the deputy commander of the 4th war zone, and I perform imperial official duties. Who gave you the courage to talk to me like this? The second elder of the Lin family suddenly laughed angrily, and his vigorous momentum instantly exploded, pressing directly towards the new recruits who didn't know the heights of the sky in front of him. How could a recruit with no hair on his head talk to him like this? Still waiting on the spot. Why don't you stand like this? Do you think the hundreds of thousands of people behind him are dead? In one sentence, everyone has to play with you. Chen Beiyuan, don't let the big ones come out. Let the small ones come out. The recruit in the third war zone was suddenly suppressed by the majestic momentum of the second elder of the Lin family. His face turned pale, but he did not show fear. Instead, the young man's anger and arrogance were aroused, and he suddenly cursed. Old man, you have cuckolds in your ears. You are still suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Whose old lady Kachatsi didn't dress properly and leaked you out. She asked you to wait on the spot. You didn't hear it. You still gave me the highest order. I'm like this Bien is also the highest order. No one is allowed in today, not old dogs, not flies, not anything else. If you can, kill me. Suddenly being scolded so badly by a little guy, the second elder of the Lin family turned green instantly. To think that the dignified senior management of the 4th war zone actually let a new recruit scold him? And he scolded him so damn unpleasantly. Chua. The adjutant beside him also became furious instantly. He took a step forward, ready to slap the blind little b***************** D in front of him. You are so brave. You dare to insult Shangwan. For this reason, your teeth must be pulled out today. I want to see who dares to touch my Chen family soldiers. You try to touch one of them. Chen Beiyuan, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. As soon as he opened his mouth, the soldiers present in the third theater were shocked, and a terrifying tacit understanding was instantly revealed. Tread, tread, tread. I saw that the densely packed soldiers stepped forward in unison, staring at the adjutant with cold eyes. Their faces turned pale with terrifying murderous intent, and they did not dare to act rashly. In an instant, the atmosphere on the entire battlefield became solemn and depressing. If there is a disagreement, it means going to war directly. The large number of soldiers in the 4th theater subconsciously clenched their weapons at this moment. Their faces changed slightly, and they had a stress reaction. The level of eliteness between the two was immediately apparent. Although the number of people in the third war zone was several times less than that in the fourth war zone, in terms of momentum, it had an almost crushing effect. At this moment, 2 phone calls rang almost simultaneously, instantly breaking the solemn atmosphere at the scene. I saw 2 special red confidential phones being sent to Chen Beiyuan and the second elder of the Lin family. Both of them changed their expressions and answered the phone at the same time. The voices of 2 top men in charge of most of the empire's military power came from the phone. "I am Chen Ziqing. I'm Lin Shufeng." As soon as these words came out, both armies were shocked. Maybe it's the tacit understanding between old rivals. Maybe you know that some things can't be figured out just by talking. The 2 military bosses made the same decision at this moment. Beat. After a brief silence, an overwhelming sound of battle suddenly broke out outside the Magic City, which immediately frightened everyone in the Magic City to numb scalps and heartaches. The fight started. There's really a fight outside. In an instant, ordinary people in the entire city, as well as those wealthy families, were silently praying for the help of the people from the Third War Zone to defeat the opponent and not lose. It's funny to say that a month ago, those people they regarded as butchers and demons have now become heroes who protect themselves in the eyes of countless people. There was no way. They didn't know what the Lin family wanted to do. Who knows what will happen after letting the army from the 4th Theater enter the city? Kill, kill, kill. At this moment, outside the Magic City, hundreds of thousands of people in 2 war zones were fighting together. For some reason, the commanders of both sides ordered not to use highly destructive weapons. It's more about competing on their overall quality and combat power. For a time, the 2 sides were evenly matched, creating an anxious situation. This result seems very surprising. There seems to be little difference in strength between the 2 families, or even very close. But the problem is that the Lin family has 3 armies, and the Chen family has only 1. Outside the Magic City, the 2 great emperor countries started fighting directly in the war zone. Naturally, such a huge movement cannot be hidden from anyone, let alone from the imperial capital.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.